What's up guys, Overman back again, and today I wanted to talk about all the hype surrounding the Taken King DLC. Part of me understands why people are so hyped about it. I mean, you get new subclasses, a new raid, vault space, weapon foundries, swords, the dreadnought, quests, and more. The Taken King is sounding really damn good. But you know what else sounded good? Destiny, the vanilla game, The Dark Below, and the House of Wolves. All of those releases had a lot of hype surrounding them, and eventually they all disappointed us for many reasons. One of those reasons being the excellent marketing campaigns. Bungie Vision has always promised big things with Destiny. Destiny 1 was said to be a massive, immersive world that players could get lost in, and it would be filled with a fantastic story and tons of content. And we all know how that turned out. How about a more recent example? With the House of Wolves, Bungie promised a fresh take on storytelling when that was totally false. It was the same type of storytelling from the last DLC. Also, they said that the Prison of Elders would offer a ton of replayability, but of course, it doesn't. Now, to their credit, Trials of Osiris turned out to be exactly what they promised. A super competitive PvP environment that offered super sweet loot. So it's not like everything they say is bullshit, it's just that a lot of it is. But more than anything is that Bungie likes to exaggerate. If you remember, they were hyping up the Reef to be this cool new social space. They made it sound like a major selling point, and they even dedicated an entire live stream to that social space. But honestly, it was just a place that was home to a few new vendors. It really didn't offer too much in terms of content. It's just a place that you go to pick up loot and bounties and then you leave. There's nothing special about it. So you have to wonder, what are they exaggerating this time around? And don't kid yourself, this DLC will not be as good as they're making it sound. Nothing they've released thus far has been. If future resembles the past, then they are exaggerating about this DLC. At least about some things. Now that's not to say it won't be good overall. I have no idea. I haven't played it. It could turn out to be awesome, but it could also turn out to be lackluster. And that's the problem with hype right there. It only looks at the positives and it exaggerates those positives. And when the product actually comes out, you find out all the negatives and then you realize that the positives weren't as good as you thought they'd be. Now normally, I'd blame Bungie Vision for this. False advertising and misleading your consumers are really shitty business practices. But I'm sure you guys have all heard the old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. How many times are we gonna get fooled before we wake up and smell the bullshit? We have overwhelming evidence that Bungie Vision will lie, exaggerate, and mislead us. So why is no one questioning this DLC? All I'm seeing and hearing is praise for a DLC that hasn't even dropped. I've seen people hype up a story that they haven't even played yet. A reasonable amount of excitement is understandable for this DLC. I'd be straight lying if I said I wasn't mildly excited for this DLC. But let's wait and see before we give it praise at the very least. Let's be open to the possibility that this DLC might not be everything it's hyped up to be. It's obvious that a lot of gamers have short memories. They've obviously forgotten how hype has led us astray in the past and how it let those companies behind those hype machines get away with it. The thing about hype is that it pushes pre-orders, which is a problem in of itself because pre-orders allow companies to turn massive profits on subpar games, or in this case, DLCs. Destiny was a massive financial success even though it was a massive disappointment. They were able to do this because of the massive amount of pre-orders Destiny had, and tons of people also pre-ordered the first two DLCs as well. Hype allows bad products to sell well because it distorts your view of the game. Hype will distract you from all the possible negatives the game could have and only shows you the positives in a glowing light, and sometimes they'll show you something that looks bad, but the massive amount of hype for the other parts of the game will distract you from the negative thing. For example, in the Year 2 Destiny livestream, they told us that we'll be losing all of our marks and we'll be given some reputation for them instead. And then we'll have to grind for the new legendary marks, and those marks will be capped at 200, which sucks, but most people didn't notice that because they were too hyped about Bungie lifting the weekly mark cap, which admittedly is awesome. I'm very happy about that. But why do you have to take away all of the marks that I've already earned? Is it because you want to slow me down and inflate my playtime? Most likely. And the really shitty part about that is that you'll need a good chunk of legendary marks to upgrade your current exotics, which obviously means that we're going to be grinding a lot to get the marks we need to upgrade our exotics. Now I get it, there were a lot of exciting things shown in that live stream. The fact that the two types of marks are being merged together is fantastic. It's long overdue, but fantastic nonetheless. And we can now buy legendary engrams from the Cryptarch with legendary marks as well, which is pretty dope. So I get that the positives are overshadowing the negatives here, but I still think those negatives deserve a mention, especially since it shows that Bungie Vision is up to their old tricks again in an effort to slow down our progress, inflate play times, and make us think that this DLC is offering more than it really is. Which reminds me, have you guys heard that sparrows won't be allowed in the Dreadnought? I wonder why. Maybe they're trying to get us to play longer by having us traverse the area on foot and force us to fight those trash mobs. Or maybe it's so that the Dreadnought feels a lot bigger than it actually is. Who knows, but it looks pretty damn sus to me, and I can't think of any noble reasons for not allowing sparrows in a patrol area when they do it for every other patrol area in the game. Look, the future of Destiny can be bright, but it's obvious that it will always be plagued by this bullshit. Planned obsolescence isn't going anywhere, and if you don't know what planned obsolescence is, I'll link a video in the description box below that explains it. But they're gonna keep on making our old currency and materials obsolete in order to slow us down and invalidate much of the work we put in prior to the next expansion. They're gonna keep on finding these little ways of increasing our playtime and making us grind. So even if everything else is amazing, these things will taint the experience to some extent. Destiny isn't perfect, but the hype sure as hell makes it seem that way. And this leads me to my final point. Part of the reason why we get so disappointed by games these days is because we become so hyped that our expectations get way too high. And then when we actually play the game, reality smacks us in the face and we're met with disappointment. Which partly isn't our fault, because these companies are purposefully hyping these games up because, as we know, they're businesses and they're looking to make their products sell as much as possible. But at some point we have to wise up and become smart consumers ourselves and not fall for the hype anymore. So if you really want to enjoy the Taken King DLC, set your expectations a little lower, so that way if it is disappointing, at least you won't be that disappointed. And it's also possible that you won't be disappointed at all and the DLC could exceed your expectations. No promises on that though. But to be perfectly honest, the best way of not getting disappointed is waiting to buy the Taken King DLC. Wait for some reviews, go watch it on Twitch, talk to your friends, and then make an informed decision on whether or not you should buy it. But anyways, I know how you guys must feel. You see all these changes and you're thinking there's no way that the Taken King can be bad, it's going to be great. Or maybe you think that Bungie's had enough time to refine Destiny and make it the game that it should have been. I know how you feel, because secretly that's how I feel about Destiny too. I feel like that game could really be something because it'll be next gen only and they've got time to perfect what was wrong with the original. But those are my feelings, and honestly, fuck feelings. Because it's those same feelings that Activision used to sell us Destiny 1. That feeling of hope. And they'll use it again to sell you Destiny 2, I guarantee it. They'll manipulate your feelings and make you believe that this game is going to actualize all of Destiny's potential. That this is going to be what Destiny 1 should have been. Just like they made us all feel and believe that Destiny 1 was going to be this super innovative game. They took advantage of the fact that gamers were craving a new experience, especially on next gen consoles. So don't rely on your feelings because they can't discern fact from fiction. Instead, rely on reason. Be rational, realistic, and skeptical, and these companies will no longer be able to take advantage of you with hype. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to smash that like button. If you're not feeling too shy, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Taken King hype train so far. Are you on board or not? And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But that's it for me though, guys. Over man, out.